fiscal stabilization program. In 2019, Canada's premiers unanimously endorsed a proposal to reform the fiscal stabilization program. Canada's Conservatives are committed to implementing the proposed changes and ensuring that provinces like Alberta receive retroactive compensation that your government can reinvest into programs creating jobs. This will give $5 billion back to those that were paying more than their fair share during some of their hardest years. While this equalization rebate will help several provinces, it will help Alberta the most. It will provide $4 billion to the people of Alberta, giving you back some of the extra money you've paid during the last few difficult years. And will pass the Equalization and Transfers Fairness Act, introduced by my Conservative colleague, MP Tom Comich, to improve transparency and make equalization fairer. Through the Council of the Federation, all of Canada's premiers endorsed a plan to treat resource revenues more fairly and to provide an equalization rebate to provinces impacted through the fiscal stabilization program. But even when all the provincial partners in our federation were united, Justin Trudeau chose to ignore them. But to truly make Alberta prosperous again, we also need to take away the limits that the Trudeau Liberal government has put on your growth. As Albertans, I don't need to tell you that the parties on the left want to phase out the energy sector and the hundreds of thousands of Canadian working families who depend on it. Conservatives will treat the energy sector as a key driver of Canada's economy and leverage our global environmental and social governance leadership as a competitive advantage to secure our future. Our ESG leading energy sector should be an asset in creating jobs and attracting investment. But the Liberals' anti-development policies are working against our growth. Without a predictable and consistent impact assessment process, investors will continue to stay away. We will fix the impact assessment process created by the divisive and ideological Bill C-69, the anti-pipeline bill, so that it upholds the best-in-class environmental standards with clear expectations and fair timelines. This way, investors will have the confidence they need to commit to the jobs and investment that our country so desperately needs in our economic recovery. On prend les changements climatiques au sérieux. On ne doit pas laisser la bureaucratie retarder les projets de réduction de gaz à effet de serre. Pour faire avancer les choses, on va accélérer l'examen des projets de réduction des émissions. Taking climate change seriously includes not letting critical GHG reducing projects to be held up by red tape and long reviews. We will fast track review of emissions reducing projects to get shovels in the ground. Conservatives are also committed to putting an end to the tanker ban in British Columbia. The Trudeau government arbitrarily banned the export of Canadian energy from British Columbia's coast against the expressed wishes of many local communities and Indigenous leaders. We will also get Trans Mountain built. Despite Mr. Trudeau's rhetoric, the construction of the pipeline has faced numerous delays. Conservatives will get the job done. Canada is blessed with an abundant supply of clean and affordable natural gas. With much of the world still reliant on coal-generated electricity, we should be boosting exports to grow our economy and to contribute to a cleaner world. Projects like LNG Canada and GNL Quebec create jobs for Canadians while benefiting the world. That's why we will implement a federal LNG export strategy. Canada must show our global ESG leadership and help reduce emissions around the world while creating jobs at home. After 6 years, it's clear the Trudeau Liberals have left Western Canadians behind, and you're frustrated. You should be. But I'm here to offer you a clear choice. More of the same from Justin Trudeau's Liberals and the other parties on the left, or restoring fairness in the West with Canada's Conservatives. Contrairement au parti de gauche, on sait qu'un avenir plus vert se construit avec des emplois. L'un ne peut aller sans l'autre. Conservatives understand that we cannot build a greener future if Canadians don't have jobs. Conservatives and all Canadians know that you cannot unite this great country if the Liberals and their partners in Ottawa are always holding big parts of it back. There is only one party that is capable of forming government that will fix this unfairness for Alberta, and that's Canada's Conservatives. Western Canadians deserve respect and a secure future. Beginning to address equalization through this rebate is an important first step. Before we go to questions, I also want to address something very troubling that's just come up today. Justin Trudeau is continuing his war on Canadian small business, refusing to implement a tax reduction for small business that was passed in Parliament. When the Prime Minister decides to raise your taxes, he'll go to extraordinary and unprecedented lengths to actually ignore Parliament, ignore the